Hey, sorry for the interruption, but we wanted to let you know that this week's episode is brought to you by Spotify for Podcasters. Really cool app. Josiah and I use it for every single show that we bring to you every week. You can edit podcasts right from your phone or computer, so you can start creating as soon as you log into the platform. You can easily distribute your podcasts to Spotify and everywhere else the podcasts are heard, just like we do every single week. You can also create video podcasts on Spotify, which is really cool. And of course, you can earn money like I'm doing right now by including ads and even podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it's totally free. There's no catch. We really love it. We use it every single week. So we encourage you to go download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started. All right, let's get back to the show.
Radical! Welcome to this week's episode of the Print on Demand Cast. Each week, join the gnarly Travis and Josiah as they provide insight into the print on demand industry and equip you with the totally tubular tools, advice, and strategies you need to achieve success and hopefully have a few laughs along the way. Now on to this week's Totally Tubular show.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to episode 52, the one-year episode of the Print on Demand Cast. We've talked about it, and now we are finally here, Travis. How does it feel to finally be a year old? We've turned a year.
You mentioned this last time. I feel like it really reflects our mental, acumen. It's very, I think we're 1 year old.
We're about to catch up with our mental state, our jokes, our maturity, I guess, not mental state, but we're officially a year old, man. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Print on Demand Cast. If you are here, please let us know that you are in the room. Drop us a chat. We would
a lot of people.
Yes.
AJ's saying hi. Cassandra's saying hi. Helen says hi. I saw Mike's in here. Chris is in here. Lots of people.
Is Mike the one that said Raiders? Because I need to know who to blame.
Of course he did.
Yeah. Well, that sounds about right.
Just tell him. Just never mind. RJ's here too.
Awesome.
RJ said he wanted the pink shirt. But there's a method to our madness, and we'll get to that in a little bit, right? Right, Josiah?
Exactly. 100%. Well, it is great to be here with you guys. We are going to be live. Obviously, we're going to be as interactive as possible. We encourage all of you to submit questions for us and our special guest. And with that being said, Travis, there's no need for pomp and circumstance and the accoutrement of a fancy production. We're just going to let you guys know right now, our special guest is back again. Chris Green joining us for the 1 year anniversary special of the Print on Demand Cast. Chris, thank you so much for deciding to come hang out with us again.
No, thanks for the invitation. And 1 year anniversary. Congratulations, guys. That's a lot of episodes. And I gotta think it must feel good, right? Like it was a lot of work, but doesn't all that work feel good?
It does.
100%.
I feel like, there's definitely an accomplishment to being consistent and doing 52 episodes every single week through Q4, through, changing shops, through, COVID, through all of that stuff.
Yeah.
We made it, and I mean, here's to the future. I got a special, big boy drink for this episode. It's a tall boy, if you will, because it's an anniversary edition. But here's to another year or another 5 years, who knows? This is a good time. This is a great show. Josiah is a great host to have, teaming up with. And Chris, you're a great guest, man. We're super happy to have you on again, dude. Josiah, you're muted. Nothing like live.
Oh yes, I bumped the connection here on the mic, and it said it was
okay.
Next, I had to reconnect.
We're the same thing. Don't worry about it.
So we're not going to have a point of interest. We're not going to have a main event. We're not going to have any of that, but we are still going to have this week's dad joke of the week.
Time for the weekly dad joke.
Can't wait.
Travis,
you guys do it at the beginning or the end?
Well,
we're doing it right now, baby.
We're doing it
Oh,
right
good.
now.
Yeah. Get people hooked. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. The pause was for the post-production jingle that always comes in after I say dad joke of the
Time
week.
for the weekly dad joke.
Yeah,
There
that's
you
pretty
go.
much
Is
it.
that
Yeah, he
that'll do?
recorded it anyway. Yeah, it was live. We're live. So, okay, here it is. Travis, Chris, do you know why dinosaurs don't make good pets?
No, just I don't know why dinosaurs would make great pets.
I don't know.
Well, they wouldn't make good pets because they're dead. And that's this week's weekly dad joke. You are all welcome. I know last week someone said they used the weekly dad joke at a party around the water cooler and didn't give us credit. We expect the check to be in the mail. So that's all I'm going to say about that right there.
We got
So
with
Travis-
your 80s theme. With your
Yes.
80s theme.
Oh yes,
Perfect. Yes,
I gotcha.
that is that.
those are
is-
nice. For those of you who are on the podcast, Chris Green just donned some dope pink glasses,
Yes,
sunglasses, and he is killing it with those things. Oh yeah,
like
Those-
super
those are nice.
vintage, man. These things are hot.
Oh yeah,
Oh, come on,
Mhm.
focus. There we go.
there it is.
Ooh,
Oh, I
they
like
got
the
a little-
accent in there. Yeah, the
Yeah.
teal accents in there. That is wonderful. Of course, Chris has a pair of sunglasses for every occasion. So that's one thing I've learned over the years. Is there's no shortage. Look at that
Actually,
bag of sunglasses. Every outfit he has a
And
pair
of course, it's
that
a
goes right along with it.
Amazon fulfillment bag.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
It's all
So-
branded.
So what we're going to do now is, if you haven't noticed, if you're watching the podcast here, this episode, we have shirts. Travis and I are wearing shirts here. I'll let him show you his first right there. It says Dad Jokes, Bad Puns, Professionals, POD Cast, in a Cobra Kai parody, of course, which looks amazing. And then I have Podcast Professionals here with a shout out to, of course, Guns and Roses. And if you guys want to avail yourself of one of these shirts, we told you, we've been telling you that we are going to launch a merch store, and that time has come. printondemancast.com/shop is where you can go and get yourself a shirt. And really, like we said last week, Travis, it's the easiest way to support the show.
Yep. Yeah. It's been a fun kind of, we've been batting designs back and forth and had our designer kind of jump on some, and it's been super fun, doing those and kind of creating the store. And, you guys can go there right now and check it out. But I thought it'd be fun if we just, Chris he's seen our shirts, but he hasn't seen the other ones. And I thought it might be fun to just show him some of the shirts and, maybe tell some stories about where some of the shirts came from. And maybe our listeners will also get a kick out of that. So you want to cue some of those up, Josiah?
Let's pull some of these up, starting with this one right here, which, of course, I'm going to zoom in here real quick. It simply says Dad Jokes and Information and Education and Podcast Professionals and Dad Jokes.
Nice.
Of course, Travis and I pride ourselves on the dad jokes and being podcast professionals. And it's in the vein. There were a lot of shirts that came out that had kind of like the characters of shows that are listed. Like it had the whole cast of Friends, Phoebe and Ross and Rachel. So we took that idea and just kind of listed out the tent poles of the Print on Demand cast, if you will.
What do you think, Chris? What's your take?
We ought to rate them like out of 10.
Yes. You have to rate them on a scale of 1 to 10.
Out of 10. All right, I'm gonna give this a generous 6. A generous 6. 'Cause I feel like 5 is like it's not good. So it's not that it's not good, but it's a 6. And I'll tell you why though, because it's so niche. Right. So it's like you got to be like locked in to the Print on Demand cast, which I think I told you guys this last time I was on. I'm super jealous of the name. It is so good. It is so perfect. I can't believe nobody had it. Every time I see it, I'm like, what podcast? The Print on Demand? Oh my gosh, that's so good.
Yeah, heck yeah.
But the double dad jokes, right? For the people that are catching, they got dad jokes twice. Oh, okay, I see what you did there. All right, so little good use on the creativity.
All right, we'll take a 6. We'll take a 6.
Right,
that's
we'll take a 6 on that one. Let's see what else we have here. I am multitasking here. If you're watching and you see me looking away from the camera, it's because my monitor is on
That's why you need 80 sunglasses, dude. It looks like I'm looking at the camera right now.
That's
but I'm
true.
not. I'm looking down here
what
to
am I
see
doing?
the dad joke shirts.
Oh, what a failure.
I'll send you
What a
some.
failure. That's why. Okay. All right. I'll be expecting those. That's why Chris Green is here, folks. He helps us be more podcast professionals. Here's this one, a little parody of the old school MTV logo to go with the, 80s new retro theme that we have going on here. Pretty simple. Just a giant POD and print on demand cast.
I like it. I like it. I
What do you
like
think,
this
Chris?
one better than the last one. But of course, not everybody knows the MTV logo from those days, right? Like MTV
Sure.
doesn't really put music on anymore, right?
I sure don't.
But for the people that know it, like the P is the right style, right? It's got the right 3D going on. This model, like, is this on Place It? Where did you find this guy?
It is. Yeah. So all,
This is
all
on
of these
Place
are
It?
actually
All right, good
on
for Place It. This
Place
is
It.
a fairly new one then. I like this one.
all of them.
I got to go 7.5 because I feel like it's not an 8, right? Like an 8's got to be pretty highly. But I'll give it it's a little better than a 7, 7.5, 7.5.
Okay.
And hey, chat room can totally override me. But
Yes.
they have to give a reason. They can't just say, no, Chris is wrong. It's a 9. You got to say why. Say why. And hey, maybe I'll agree with them and we can actually bump that rating up.
Yeah, I like that.
7.5.
I like that. So if you're in the room with us here, and you disagree, let Chris know that you disagree. But furthermore, let him know why. And
Cordelia
we will be
says-
sure.
It's very MTV. So I think that's a
Yep.
compliment. Thank you, Cordelia. That's very kind of you. That was what we were going
Yeah.
for.
Well, Cordelia
Show us
wants to
another
be
one,
sure that
just
she
so
has some
pull up
shirts for
another
the
one
ladies.
here.
You
Oh,
got
yeah.
ladies shirt, right?
We got lady shirts in there, right, Josiah? We've got some ladies fitted shirts. Did you bump your
Are you muted? Did you mute yourself?
Nope,
No,
there you
we're-
go.
we're all good.
We're all good.
Okay. Good. All right. So here's another one based on a reference that was made. Travis, when did we first make this reference to the print on demand cast multiverse?
This was when we had the Vexels guy, Jiro, on. And at the end,
That's right.
he talked about, we were talking about put your crystal ball, or look in your crystal ball. What's the future of the print on demand universe? And he was like, I think it's multi or something like that. And so we made the joke that it was the first time we'd ever had an MCU, reference on the print on demand cast. And so you dubbed our listeners as the print on demand multiverse. And so here you go. There's a shirt for you.
I like this one. Is this the Marvel logo kind of?
Kind of parody. Yeah, a little bit ish.
All right. I'm not really embarrassed to say it, but I'll admit that I haven't seen hardly any of the Marvel movies because I got behind, and then you're kind of like messed up. Unless you really catch up, you can't just jump back in and watch Endgame or something. It's like no, I know it's like so much.
You have to know the whole thing.
I'm so far behind, like it's never going to happen, kind of thing. I like it. 7 though. 7. I like the other one better. The MTV one is better than this one.
So
but
far,
simple,
MTV.
Right? It's simply stated. I like it.
So let's see what else we have here. What's the next one we can pull up? This one was for Travis. It's his catchphrase at the end of every show. Just a simple "See ya."
See ya.
So we made one for
Is
Travis.
that Comic Sans? Is that Comic Sans?
I think so. Yeah.
It could be.
Do
we need to fire our designer?
You sure?
Yeah. Yeah, this is.
Are we gonna have to fire our designer? Is that what you're saying?
We might. I mean, I'm just thinking like it's a fun kind of at the end of every episode. See ya, but I don't feel I'm represented well in this shirt at all. I just I feel like kind of I got gypped by our designer. So we need
by the Comic Sans.
Yeah, by the Comic Sans. I mean, my sixth grader probably would have done a better job, is all I'm saying. But we'll leave it up to Chris.
What's the H all about, right? Like see ya is like see ya, like YA, right? Is that how you spell it in Colorado?
Or might be how you spell it where our designer's from, but we'll have to ask and get a redesign on that one.
it needs the mustache and a beard, so it's like and a hat. Right, so people like no, right, yeah, that's Travis from the thing. Instead of like see ya, like see ya, like what are you talking about?
That's a good point, Chris.
Do
you want a job as a designer?
I do not. That's a hard.
Yes,
hard
you
pass.
have time, right? He has time. I think he has.
I'm not doing
okay. The next one here is the one.
I'm not even going to rate that one. That one doesn't get rated.
Yeah, we'll just forego.
This is good.
But here's the one that I'm wearing. Podcast professionals in the shout out to, of course, the Guns N' Roses, 2 microphones, the rose. Pretty vintage looking. Goes
instead
with the
of
vibe.
the guns,
sure.
it's got the instead of the guns, it's got the microphones. I like that. I like that. I thought that was clever.
Yeah,
what do you think, Chris?
Microphones can be more of a weapon than guns if you know how to use them. Right? You can use the
It's
power
true.
of your words.
Mm.
I go
So
8,
true.
8.5 on this one. 8.5.
Whoa!
I like it. And it's
Nice.
clean, right? Like, but right? So not everybody grew up with Guns N' Roses, but maybe people have seen the vintage tees or something. They're like, oh, okay,
Sure.
I see that. I like it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
So far,
And
And
this
those
one,
shades are
Guns N'
fire,
Roses.
dude. Like, if you guys could pair the shades and the shirt as a bundle, a
In a
print-on-demand bundle.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Could laser
Okay, here we
something on the
go.
sides, or something. I don't know. That'd be pretty dope. All right.
Let's
Is this the last
see
one?
here? Yes, last one coming up.
Okay.
The one Travis is wearing right now. Our tribute or ode or shout out to the Cobra Kai phenomenon. Dad jokes, bad puns, professionals. The POD cast.
I like it. I gotta go 8 on this one because the Guns N' Roses one is better.
Okay.
Guns N'
All
Roses.
right.
You heard it here first, guys.
Nice.
Definitely,
Well, there you go.
definitely the Guns N' Roses shirt one. Okay, yeah, Mike Perillo, Uncle Mike is in the chat. He says definitely digging the Guns N' Roses shirt. He says he wants one. Well, Mike, guess what? You can get one. You just go to printondemandcast.com/shop and just drop one in your cart, and it's that simple. And Josiah, your company's actually going.
There's
to
the website
print
there.
these.
Just wanted to, just going to show everyone a little bit. Go there, and there's all the designs that we have
Fun.
to offer. That one, of course, will be struck from the record with the H spelling. It is no longer going to exist. But it was nice while it lasted for that guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
80s did the
right.
workout stuff, but like all the other stuff was way more 80s than the workout lady. Like even just her mock-up was kind of out of place.
Yeah, well,
But
we'll
hey-
be sure to, if we can get your digital signature and we can just send your signature on the pink slip to our designer and let him know that it was actually Chris
No,
Green.
no.
Also, unanimously, the chat that they decided to fire him, and Travis is also personally offended. So he's got a long way uphill to make up for that Comic
That's right.
Sans debacle.
That is right.
I think there's a lesson in here though, right?
Okay.
Not to do with the designer, but hey, we just went through and rated some print-on-demand shirts that don't actually exist. You haven't spent any money on them other than hiring a designer to make some things.
Right.
Got feedback,
Yep.
right? Not just from, hey, we did a
Yeah.
podcast, we had a guest, but from the community, from people that are watching, and said, you know what? Let's take that down. And you're able to refine and test and split and all these things without ever having to spend any money. Like it's whenever I see something like that, I'm like, that's why print on demand, whatever it is, apparel, barware, glass, like it doesn't matter. The fact you can print on demand or take an order and then make, customize, ship, fulfill. Where I come from, and you guys did plenty of arbitrage. Like you had to go buy stuff and spend money and cross your fingers and do all this work before you ever saw a product. Then like the money would come in and pay for your credit card, and you're like, okay, I still haven't made money. You can make money with print on demand on the first item you ever sell. Like you're never upside down in print on demand, which it's so good. I think people dismiss it. They're missing this opportunity because they think it's something else. They think it's that's not real e-commerce. It's like I don't know, Marvel and Disney do it. Like it's pretty real.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And I saw some people in the chat as well asking about ladies fit shirts. We can get those. We can add them to the site. We'll get those up tomorrow so that you can have ladies fit and everyone can be in the shirt that they desire. Probably the Guns N' Roses one because Chris put that one over pretty hard. So I'm expecting that's the one that we'll see selling. Let's hope.
Yeah.
Can I add one thing about ladies' tees?
Yep.
Yes.
I think there's a big opportunity where men don't realize how good they'll look in a ladies' tee. Especially, you guys do ring tees where you have like the rings around the sleeves?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
This is a shot in the dark, but if guys are willing to try on a ladies' fit ring tee, their guns are going to look sweet. We actually went in to 14 years ago. So we still lived in Texas. There was a local shirt shop. Like they would go in, they would do nice short runs for us. And we had these shirts from the church that I was going to that were printed on ring tees. And we're like, we love these shirts are great. Me and the other guys were like, it's like my favorite shirt, man. Like, I just like the fit. I feel good in this shirt. We take them in to this t-shirt shop to be like, hey, can you get these? Can we get some shirts made on these? We didn't know what they were called. We didn't know they were called ring shirts. And he's like, yeah, I can get those, but those are ladies' shirts. We're like, really? We had no idea. We said, you know what? Forget it. We're going to do it anyway. Like we had shirts printed on ladies' ring tees because we just liked the way that they fit. And I told it to David now because he's getting bigger. He's 14 and he likes kind of a tighter fit. I was like, you should get some ladies' ring tees and see if you like those. And the first reaction is like, ladies, no, I don't wear that. But it's like, dude, it's a shirt. Like, there's no men's shirts and ladies' shirts. Like, it's you like wearing it, wear it. Right?
It's a shirt, yeah.
So I think more men should try it. So anybody who tries it after listening to this episode, you gotta message the show and be like, you know what?
Please
I heard
you
about it.
post...
I thought Chris was messing with me. I did it and it was incredible.
Yep. Yeah, you can wear one, post a picture to the group, and let us know just how high your social stock rose when everyone thought you looked so jacked. All the dates that you got, everything, and I think we need to see Chris's theory proven here. So I look forward to these pictures.
Yeah. I think we could even give out a prize to the first male that wears a woman's shirt that takes a selfie and posts it in the group. So there's a few people here on the live, so you guys get the first chance. And then
I believe we have
a podcasting world.
I believe Uncle Mike just
Uncle
said,
Mike's going to do
Travis.
No, I think he's just saying that. I think
don't even think about
he's
it.
just saying that.
Yeah, he's been
talking.
talking.
Got to be serious. Don't just go get a wife's shirt, right? Like that doesn't count. You have to get one that you're like, you know what? I'm actually going to consider trying this. Don't put on a blouse. Don't put on a workout tank top or something. Like, no, actually find a t-shirt that your wife wears and try it on, and you're going to be surprised.
All right. Well,
all right. Mike, I look forward
to
that.
Better you than me.
I think Uncle Mike should probably throw one on for ISS Long Beach if we have that meetup that we're talking about doing in January. I think we get him a print on demand cast one. I think that's a goal for Mike. I think he can do it.
I think we're going to bring that for him to wear to that Long Beach meetup. As a matter of fact, I think that's going to happen. So let's wait and see what he chats about that. Yeah, we're going to do it So ISS is a show in January. It's a print show that they do in Long Beach. It's a really big one as far as print shows go. There's a lot of different size ones all over the country, but the January one's a lot of times where companies will reveal some of their newer products and such. And so we're planning on, Josiah and I are already planning on going. Jason, Josiah's business partner, Uncle Mike Perillo, he actually lives out in California. That's actually where we met in face-to-face for the first time, was at the ISS Long Beach show a couple years ago. Really good friends now. And so we're planning on just bringing, going out there, telling everybody we're going to be out there, maybe even doing like a suite at a place and having a, just a get together or something like that, but doing like a podcast, doing some lives, from the show floor and things like that. It's in January. I don't have the exact dates on me, but that's definitely something we're planning on doing. Should be fun.
Yep.
Oh, that's smart. Just do it at the same time as like a big event.
Yeah, exactly. Well, okay, so we've been blabbering on and on about, fun stuff, and it's been a blast, and this is our 52nd episode, and we can do whatever the hell we want. But I do want to talk about print on demand a little bit. So, Chris, when I messaged you originally about this, you were saying, there's so many things to talk about. There's all these different updates. And I think you were specifically talking about KDP. And I think there's enough people that, like KDP and do KDP that we can maybe touch on that. And then I also wanted to talk about what we talked about before we press record, some of the more, like the shirts and the, mugs and things like that. But why don't you give us some of the updates that you've heard about in the KDP world to start with?
So KDP, of course, stands for Kindle Direct Publishing. I don't like the name because it implies Kindle, and Kindle's digital. So it's on demand, whatever. But so it used to be Create Space. It was a separate, that's where you did your print on demand paperbacks. Actually, they used to do audio CDs and like clamshell DVDs. If you gave them the content and the artwork, they would make you a clamshell DVD on demand. They don't really do that anymore just because DVDs are, everybody's streaming and all that. But they've taken the paperback and they've put it under KDP. So if anybody wants to do print on demand books, which I wish I had a copy of it. I need to order another one. I gave my last one away, where I made a book called 50 Shades of Gray Cats, and it was 50 different pictures of gray cats. And that was it. And it was printed in color. It looked great. These are high resolution images. And I found that book was the one book that really got people to click and have that kind of aha moment, or the light bulb, whatever. They're like, oh, you can print anything. And I'm like, yes, that's what I've been telling you. Because so many people think printing a book or self-publishing a book, like, I get it. Like, I remember, like, I feel it right now. I think that, well, writing a book is hard. It's a big project. Like, yeah, but there's other types of books, like crossword puzzles and notebooks and journals and 50 pictures of cats and 50, 100 reasons to trust Donald Trump with nuclear weapons and like all these things, which is a real book that I printed and made over $500 on.
Oh my gosh!
Without paying any attention to it. It's a completely blank book. There's nothing in it, right? It's like a spoof kind of book. People made it for Democrats, people made it for Republicans. So I was like, it took me, I think, a total of 90 minutes to make the interior file and the cover as a goof. I was kind of hoping it would go viral, maybe get retweeted by Ellen or something, something along those lines, which with print on demand is a real possibility. So you can put 90 minutes into something, maybe spend another hour trying to, get it upvoted on Reddit, try to get it retweeted by somebody on Twitter, try to get it shared on Instagram, and see if you can't, like it makes sense for you. Like, oh wait, I got enough out of it for my effort. And if not, you wasted 2.5 hours, but you learned something. You learned things that didn't work, and even then, you've made an asset that maybe doesn't sell today. But over the 4 years or 5 years now, I made $500. Now that's not a ton. Of course, it doesn't sell a ton of books. So it can make like $250 on each one or something.
Right.
But it's completely passive. It's on demand. And Amazon does it. It's on Amazon's Prime eligible and all those things. So I keep going back to examples like this because with KDP, it's print on demand books. It's not t-shirts, which are easy to kind of understand. Upload an image and it's a print on demand t-shirt. Pick some colors, sizes. It's okay, I get it. With books, it's something different. It's like what are people buying the book for? Like, what problem are they solving? Do they want puzzle books? Do they want coloring books? Do they want journals and notebooks and or anything else, or a book about how to run a podcast? Right? And I think, how is that a book? Be like, well, here's the 10 things you should know before starting a podcast, and you put some links to videos and links to your Facebook group, and now you've got a print on demand product, physical product you can leverage and give away and all these other things. So since the last time I was on, Kindle or KDP has added hardback books. So it's not just paperbacks, no hardback books. And this is Amazon. And I know I'm kind of being long-winded already, but the thing you have to remember about Amazon is they want the market share. They will cut their costs and their fees and everything as much as they can in order to pass on lower prices to the customer so they can own the market. So that the price that you can order a single book at, or even 50 books, is so low per unit because Amazon's not trying to make money off authors ordering their own books, right? They want their program to be so attractive that authors are compelled to use it. But of course I want to use KDP. Of course I want my products on Amazon, because then the customers come to Amazon, buy those products, stick around, buy other products, become lifetime value customers of Amazon. So we as publishers or as content creators can leverage Amazon's insane cost structure, not to mention the fact you're on Amazon and Prime eligible, all of these benefits to have our print on demand products. Again, not just t-shirts. Books are print on demand as well. And you can put different types of content in the book. So first thing is we got hardbacks. Now you can make big, you can make them small. They're a little bit more expensive, but they look really nice. So depending on what type of book you're making, if you want it to be a little bit more of a premium product compared to a kind of a floppy paperback, that option is now there. Of course, completely free, print on demand. They're adding the ability to add more information. They're calling it A+ content. So you can add additional images, to the product page. So anybody who's an Amazon seller is going to be familiar with this. But in KDP, it was normally cover, back cover if you printed a paperback. If you just did Kindle, you're only going to get a front cover. That was it for your image options. Now we have additional image options. There are ways to upload videos to your listings, which is going to give people more ways to kind of communicate the value proposition of their book and hopefully get some more sales for it. Just make them look more professional. They added the ability, this is kind of related, it's not exactly print on demand, but you can now order Kindle books, digital books for other people. So Travis, for example, I could take my $100 book, drop it to 99 cents, right? For one day, 24 hours. Me as the author, I'm going to go in and buy 1,000 copies at 99 cents each, right? Well, let's not do it that. Let's do 100. Let's make it like, 100
Sure,
copies.
sure.
I will now have 100 individual unique redemption links. One limit of this is USA only. So if you buy in USA, you can only redeem USA. Then the next day, my book goes back up to $99, right? Except now I have 100 $1 coupons, right? I spent $100 to basically buy 100 $100 bills, right? So I got $10,000 worth of books for $100, right? Because that's the retail value.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this as like a 2.0 strategy already, because I'm publishing my own books. I'm dropping the price. I'm buying them myself. You can also monitor Kindle books and say, hey, Gary Vee's book is normally $12.99. Hey, it's on sale for $199 today. Okay, I see that. Let me get 100 of those for $200, and now you have 100 redemption links. That once the price goes back to $12.99 or whatever the regular price is, multiply that by 100, and it's like, wait a minute, now I have $12,900 worth of Gary Vee books to give away. And then leverage that and run ads against Gary's audience to say, hey, join my email list and win a copy of Gary's book. You can't sell the links, right? So don't buy links underpriced and then try to sell them. You can't do that.
Yeah, you got to give them away, right?
As far as I can tell, this isn't breaking any rules. But hey, I've broken Amazon rules. But what an amazing piece of bait, right? Even if you gave away one, like 99 cents to get a targeted person to join your email list, like there's a lot more expensive ways to get people to join your email list than giving them the leverage of saying, look, join my email list. I'll give you my $100 book. Like, dang, that's a good deal. I'm going to join that. And then that value exchange, like you've given them so much up front, but you basically gave them a $100 bill and it cost you $1. Right.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you could send the PDF, but it's not the same as sending them a link which says regular price, $99, price for you, free, with this special link given to you by Chris Green. What a great guy he is. Like, it's just such a way to leverage this platform, right? And you can track if the links are redeemed, right? So if I send you a link, Travis, and you don't redeem it, I'll tell you, this is a 7-day link. Redeem in 7 days or it's not going to work. I'll give it to somebody else, right? So I'm not losing. And within 60 days, you can return them. Like, you can straight up get your money back. And you're like, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing here. Return them all. You'll get all your money back. Like, Amazon's not even going to hold you to that. After 60 days, you're stuck with them. All right. But you can always redeem them. They don't expire. My mind just goes crazy with the promotional opportunities around this.
That's incredible. I was listening to an older episode of How I Built This podcast, and Guy Raz was interviewing Tim Ferriss. By the way, How I Built This is such a fun podcast. It tells the story of entrepreneurs from all over every industry, and Guy Raz is just an incredible interviewer, and they really produce it. It's a really well written, it's a super great podcast, so highly recommend it. Anyway, he was interviewing Tim Ferriss, and it was just so interesting to see how, you seem to be wired in a similar way as Tim when it comes to, like, he basically would just try things, document them, and then learn from them, and then try them again with the things he learned, and just over and over test and try. And he would take copious notes. And the way he was completely unknown before he wrote the 4-Hour Work Week, and it was the #1 bestseller for over 4 years. And he basically did that because he created a strategy, and he actually went to different conferences and got around tech bloggers and just hung around them. And then every once in a while would say, they'd ask him finally, "Who are you again?" And he would say, "Oh, I'm Tim Ferriss." And they're like, and that's all he'd say. And they'd say, "Well, what do you do?" And he's like, "Oh, I just, I'm just out here trying to, talk about my first book that I just finished writing." And he would shut up, and then they would go inevitably, "Well, what's the book about?" And he would give a short pitch. They go, "Oh, that's interesting. If you'd like, I'll send you a copy of my book, and I'll actually, highlight with some sticky notes, 4 or 5 different things that I think would be really applicable to you and your business." And so he did that about 40 times, and he got all of this publicity because he was out there talking to all these people that already had audiences that then got this book. It was customized for them as far as like what they should read. And they go, "Oh, this is really interesting." They'd write about it. And then all of a sudden he's like #1 bestseller in like, I think it was 6 weeks it took him from the time he actually launched to when he was on the bestsellers list, and he stayed there for 4 years. So it's very, I mean, obviously that is kind of a lightning strike, but it's incredible. It's an incredible story, and it illustrates how, lightning can strike but lightning is going to strike probably a lot more frequently if you actually have a strategy and actually plan. And also if you test all kinds of things that don't work, because you got to get through all the stuff that doesn't work, and learn from all of that stuff. And I mean, I feel like, oh my gosh, I have learned so many things about what doesn't work in print on demand. I mean, if you just reverse or go back and listen to all of our episodes, you can find so many different cautionary tales that we have shared about our mistakes and about these horrible things that have happened. But I guarantee we are better for them. We are better print on demand entrepreneurs, if you will, or print on demand, production, whatever you want to call us. We're better for it. We're better businessmen because of it. And so, it just reminded me as you were going through that, I was like, man, you sound a lot like, Tim Ferriss, just try and try again, document, tweak and do it again.
That's why I love print on demand, because you can try, tweak without spending money. Right. Like I've coached a lot of people, and I try to steer people away from spending money unless they're very confident they know exactly what they're doing, because I don't want anybody to lose money. I don't want people to buy something just because, oh, Chris said I need this. I was like, I didn't say you needed anything. Right. Like if you need something, you got to make a decision yourself. But people forget that it's not just about learning. Tell me how to do POD. It's like you need to know the things that don't work. Like that's true knowledge. It's not just I know things. Like if you say I don't know anything that doesn't work, well, then you don't know an industry. You don't know a topic well. You need to know all aspects of it. And you usually don't realize that until you've been in it long enough. And then you realize what you know and you don't know. But trying something and it doesn't work is valuable. It's not like, oh, shoot, wasted time. It's like, sort of, but also you learned what didn't work. So don't do that again, or do it just a little bit differently. I'm fascinated a little bit by a lot of people say they've read Tim Ferriss and they've read 4 Hour Work Week. And then you ask them something specific about the book and they have no idea what you're talking about.
A lot of it's anecdotal or something. A lot of it's anecdotal to like a lot of his experiences, and like how he did, dancing in Argentina and tango, all of these different things that, it's like, oh my gosh, that's so crazy. And so like, that's the thing I remember. I remember him tango dancing in Argentina. I'm like, how does that equate to a 4-hour work week? I have no idea, but I remember that from the book when I read it, 10 years ago or whatever.
Well, he eventually got to the remember his supplement company, and he would pay like he told people, hey, if it costs less than $100 to solve the problem, just solve it. Exactly. And I remember reading that, and FBA had already existed by the time that I read it. It was very early. But I remember thinking, could you imagine? Because I read some of it and I was like, Tim, I'm talking to him like, some of this is not exactly practical. Right, like you were able to do some things, and some of the things you did required like some upfront money and funds and business knowledge.
And his margins were insane in the supplement industry. Let's face it, he was early
margins. Too, very early to supplement. But could you imagine? This is what I try to make people think about. Could you imagine if Tim Ferriss had FBA? Right, because he did all that without FBA. He did that without Amazon Marketplace. Right. So I think like, man, imagine if Tim Ferriss had FBA, but take it a step further. Exactly. Imagine if someone with Tim Ferriss's information. I mean, he used to do like a show where he would like try to learn poker in 24 hours or something. He just tried to learn something extreme with like the best person in the world to see if like how good could you get if you could hang out with the top chess player in 24 hours. How good could you get at chess? Like it's just trying new things. Like if you had print on demand back then, the way we have print on demand today, I'm sure he would have tried 100 things until he found something that worked and popped. And I think people, they underestimate the power of networking. Like if you published a book and you go to an event for podcasters, right? And you have a published book and everybody there in attendance who has paid money to be there is literally a podcaster. And you have a published book and you're an expert on a specific topic. Just go up and talk to anybody that is there, because you know what podcasters need? Guests. And if you're a published author where you can show some established expertise around an interesting topic, I can't see too many scenarios where like, no, heck no, we would never have you on our show. Right. Like, right. All of a sudden you're on the show and guess what you do? You say, hey, you know what we can do on your show? I'll give you guys 50 direct links to redeem for my my $20 Kindle book or my $10 Kindle book. It doesn't have to be expensive. It can be low price, right? So instead of giving away $10 on each one, it only costs you $1 on each one because you're the author and you can change the price and you can buy all these codes. Or you say, look, here's what we can do. I'll give away 20 books to your audience. The first 20 people to, join my email list or don't make it about you. I try to push it all the way to the host. Be like, hey, are you guys starting your own email list? Hey, this is a great way. Collect emails, then pick a winner and let me know and I'll send them books. Because with KDP, you can do what's called author copies and ship to 7 different countries, basically at cost of the book, plus $3.59 shipping. That's print, pick, pack, ship, everything. That's under great. $4. Yeah. And tax, depending on what state you're shipping to. So depending on the length of your book, it's generally under $6 or about $6 to ship a book, a short book up to like 108, 120 pages or something like that. And it's not just about, that's my fulfillment cost. And okay, I need to factor that in. It's like, no, for $6, hands off, wherever you are in the world, you can get on your computer and say, hey, ship this book to this person for under $6. It's going to be printed by Amazon and it's going to show up in an Amazon envelope. So they're going to open it, right? This ain't no media mail packet. Right. It's been trashed and run over by a truck. It's like, no, it's in an Amazon envelope under $6 delivered remotely. Like I feel that people are underestimating the power of these platforms right now. And there's going to be more people coming. There's going to be more people selling. And I don't think it's watch out, here's competition coming. Because what I try to teach people is to find something specific and niche that they personally enjoy. And then it's hard to beat somebody when you're going up against someone who actually enjoys what they're doing. You're like, oh, I could do that. It's like, yeah, but you don't actually like it. So you might be able to do it for a little while, but you're eventually going to see it as work and you're not going to want to do it. That other person that loves it, they are going to eat your lunch and they're going to smoke you out because they actually love it. And they figured out I can't believe I get to have this podcast. I get to talk about something that I like. I have a merch store that's print on demand that I don't have to do anything except get a royalty check every month.
Right.
This is the dream. And I wrote a post about it recently where it's the myth of finding the job that you never work a day in your life if you find a job that you love. That doesn't exist. There's no job that you love so much that you would do it for free, right? You might like your job, but I can't think of a single. And tell me, like everybody in the comments, let us know. Show me a job where, you might do it for less money. You might do it for free for a little bit to help somebody out. You might, volunteer and enjoy some things, but that's not a job. That's volunteering. There's no job that you would do for free, unless you really, really love it. And you could think of entrepreneurs as we do stuff that nobody likes. We put ourselves through stressful situations for fun, right? We're the crazy ones, right? Because we actually enjoy this. No one else would do this because why would you do that? You're not getting paid. It might not work out. It's a lot of work. Your spouse is angry at you for staying up another late night working on something that you think, why do you do this? It's because we actually enjoy it. And it's really hard to compete with people who actually enjoy what they do. So find what you actually like to do. Find a way to provide value to other people, whether through a podcast or a Facebook group or a YouTube channel or an Instagram account. It doesn't matter. Find a way to put out information that you enjoy talking about that actually helps other people. And all of a sudden, you're going to have an audience. And if you have an audience, you can offer print-on-demand merch. And now you have a way to make money doing something you actually like. And the trick is to not feel guilty about it. Because I know you guys, I'm not only you guys, but I know people that are listening. Because I've done this for so long. They start to feel guilty. And they're like, well, I would do this for free. Why should I can't believe I'm getting paid. And I was like, that's the point, right? LeBron likes playing basketball, right? He doesn't see it as a job. He doesn't be like, damn, I got to wake up and practice again. Oh, I hate this. I wish I wasn't LeBron James. He's like, no, I love the game of basketball. This is great. I love the workouts. And I love my muscles are feeling sore. And I love all of it. And that goes back to what we just started to talk about at the very beginning, right? You guys did 52 episodes, a lot of work, right? Yeah. Hard work. Things didn't work out. Episodes didn't come out as good as you want. Guests didn't show up. Things didn't record. All these things. It was hard work. But now you're glad you did it, right? Yep. Instead of, well, hey, it's a year later and we never did the podcast, and well, at least we didn't have to do that hard work, right? No, the feeling of accomplishment, not by doing things, but by doing hard things that you don't want to do. They're hard. But then when you do them, you're so happy and grateful and thankful, and you feel amazing that you've done them. So trick yourself, remind yourself how happy you're going to be, how much fulfilled you're going to feel when you do these hard things. Like try setting up your own podcast, publish your own book, start your print-on-demand merch store, because you're going to feel really good at the end when you're like, hey, I did it. I didn't like it at the time, but it was hard work, and I'm working for myself because I'm an entrepreneur. I learned things that worked and didn't work. I'm ranting now. I'm passionate about this.
Before we go to some questions in the chat, I just want to kind of tag onto what you said there. I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast, and he was talking about that exact thing about go do something hard, go do something difficult, because it builds character, because it refines you as a person, because it reveals what's in you, the resolve that's in you. He said the stuff that I do now that's easy is because I started doing it when it was hard, and now I have practice. So things like stand-up comedy, podcasting, UFC commentating for Joe Rogan now comes as second nature, but that's because he wrestled the bear and did the hard thing in order to become proficient at it. So I believe, I wholeheartedly agree with you, Chris, that and that's something that I think is kind of lost on people. Like, no, embrace the suck and embrace the hard and you will get through it, and you'll be the beneficiary of it down the road. Like with the podcast, like you were saying, there's tons of podcasts out there that drop and then fizzle because the consistency of 52 episodes is hard. It's hard to be consistent. It's hard to press record, as crazy as that sounds. And 90% of the work is before you press record, but sometimes it's even hard to find time just to press record and do it and set aside the time in Q4 and all this kind of stuff. So I completely and wholeheartedly agree with you. So I want to go to some questions here, because there are some users. My screen says Facebook user. You guys aren't users. You're the permanent universe. So Matthew Markworth has a POD question. Says, what's a strategy to find the right balance between evergreens and holiday specific designs? I prefer evergreens, but have had some success with topical stuff as well.
I mean, it's a great question. It's a question that I probably would have answered differently when I first learned more about print on demand and when Merch by Amazon came out. So a balance between evergreen and holiday. I can tell you what I'm doing as someone who's experimented and tried so many of these different things is I don't do any. I'm not an evergreen merch design seller where I upload designs that if the right person finds them and searches for them and lands on my page, they might buy it, as well as holiday things. If that's something you want to do and like to do, then by all means go for it. But merch kind of made this part clear for me, because with merch by Amazon or any print on demand apparel system, you can upload pretty much everything. And when you can upload pretty much everything, then you start to think, okay, well, I should only upload like the best stuff. Okay, well, what's the best stuff? And you start making lists, and it's like, there's no limit. Like, where do you stop? Right? Like, I'm going to upload the top 1% of my ideas. Well, why not 2%? Why not 3%? Well, maybe 10. Right. Like, and then to me, I can just speak for myself. I feel so overwhelmed that it's not fun anymore. And I second guess myself. And I've got adult ADHD, which I think I would predict a lot of entrepreneurs have undiagnosed. So a little tip: if you feel unfocused, if you feel like you hop from idea to idea, take an online test. And if it kind of points you in one direction, go get actually evaluated. That's not something that can be evaluated on your own, but do talk to a psych doctor about it. Because if you do, it can be the answer to a lot of reasons why you hop around and you like, like I get it. But because of that, like, and realizing some of these things is we're like, you know what, I'm not doing those things. Like that's not me. I'm not an evergreen merch seller. I'm not a holiday merch seller. I could do it. I understand how it works, but I don't enjoy it. And it's time away from something else. So I'm trying to pass on the information that I'm trying to, take for myself, for the advice of, hey, just because you can do something, maybe you should do something else that more aligns with your strengths, your passions, your talents, your goals. And you might find that, you know what? Yeah, I get that you can. I mean, I get you can flip toys doing RA and Q4, but maybe this year you don't want to do it because you want to do something else. And that's okay. So don't beat yourself up for the when you have all these options and you have to pick. For someone with ADD, that can be a very difficult thing to do because you're not just picking something, you're also not picking all the others. And
Mhm.
the ADD brain doesn't do well with that. They're like, oh, but what, what about, but maybe,
Yeah. Yep.
and you
The
have
fear
to
of
focus
missing out. The
Yep,
FOMO.
you gotta
FOMO.
It's
lock in and
FOMO.
say,
Totally.
there's heck of an opportunity in Evergreen Holiday. Like
Yeah.
there's a big opportunity, but
Yeah.
are you able to drive your own traffic? Do you have a community that makes sense? Like I would rather build that type of community where you can support them with merch and they can support you by buying the merch
Mhm.
and do something you enjoy that's actually aligned with your skills and talents, because you do holiday shirts long enough, it's going to be work instead of fun.
Well, I think I'll take a stab at this question because it's something that we've kind of created a system for, and I think for us, and I think for anybody, if you want to have a balance between evergreen and topical or holiday, if you want to design designs, any system will do. Okay. So you just have to choose it. And so what we did was we went through the calendar and we actually listed the holidays that we wanted to actually create designs for. And then we created a time that our designers would have to work on them, and then that they would have to be listed by. So we backed up about 3 months or 4 months or something, said the designs. So the people that would research the ideas for the holidays or for any event would back up 4 months and then give them to our designers who would have them, and then we'd have them listed 3 months before the holiday. So we just basically created a calendar. And then what we did was we said, okay, we want 25% of your ideas for that our researchers, and maybe that's you, it was me at first. I would research the designs to give to our designers, but so we would say 25% need to be from this calendar based on these holidays. Then 75% need to be evergreen. So just, memes or funny jokes or whatever that, obviously we're going to trademark check them at some point down the road, and copyright and all that stuff, and just look at them and make sure that, nothing's out of order. But 25% topical, or 25%, topical or holiday based on this list that we created, and then 75% evergreen. And that's kind of how we did it. And it's kind of how we still do it. I think the magic, or the secret sauce, and I talked about this one time. I gave away one of my best-selling Valentine's Day mugs. It had a picture of Donald Trump. It had a wall, and it had some hearts, and it said, "I want you on my side of the wall." And that thing sold like hotcakes, because what it did, it took Valentine's Day and it took a very political thing, it wasn't necessarily Democratic or Republican. It was just something in the news, and it took a topical event and a holiday and it married them. That thing went ballistic. So that is the secret sauce for like a really powerful topical mug, but that doesn't sell hardly at all anymore. So that's a flash in the pan. It's my evergreens that pay the light bill, if that makes sense. So that's why we said 25% topical, 75% static designs that are going to last, or evergreen designs that are going to last. So hopefully that answers your question, Matthew. Great question, because I know that a lot of people have that question and maybe don't ask it. So thanks for asking it. That's a great question.
Yeah, we have another one from Susie Sue, another POD question. It says, why is Amazon limiting the amount of applicants being approved? I've applied going on 2 months now, and it is still pending.
I'm sure she's talking about merch by Amazon. Chris, you know a lot about this, so we'll let you handle this one.
Yeah, I wish I had like some insider info to pass along. It used to be, it was initially started because there were so many people applying. And unfortunately, when so many people were applying, a small percentage of those people were bad actors who would upload copyright stuff and trademark stuff and just cause problems, which meant Amazon had to hire lawyers and just new systems to slow down and check shirts and all these things. So they went to this application process, and they redid it a few years ago to kind of take in, okay, we know who that the Amazon account is. How long have they been with us? Have they also been a seller? Are they an active seller? Like a lot of different things. They actually ask for your tax ID now before. Like with the application, which it used to be afterwards. So you can imagine before, it helps to give them more information to make a decision. I do think that because of COVID, they're probably still a little backlogged on the approval process. I'm sure they would love to get away from the approval process and just have a system that works well enough that they can just let anybody who's interested come on, make an instant decision that actually weeds out the bad guys and lets everybody else in. So I know it's not the answer you want to hear, other than just be patient. Know that Amazon wants to let everybody in. They're all fully and committed to the merch program. They want more people who are driving traffic and uploading great designs for Amazon customers. So just be patient. It's unfortunate, and I know it's frustrating, but there's nothing you can do about it. Just check in. The one thing I can add is they don't always send the acceptance email, or it goes to spam. You might miss it. So maybe once a week, just try to log in, right? Go to Merch by Amazon and see if it says, hey, your application is pending. And you might be surprised, be like, oh, for Pete's sakes, I'm in. Because you may never got actually notified. I've seen that a lot. So I wouldn't do it every day, but once a week, you might find that you get lucky, and hopefully in the future, it'll be easier. But don't let that stop you, because Merch by Amazon is just one of many print-on-demand platforms that you can use. And of course, I would recommend, regardless of if you're approved for anything, learn how to design, start making your own, like have your designs ready and on deck. Because I can't tell you how frustrating it is for someone to say, hey, I finally got approved. You can see this in my group all the time. Finally got approved. What do I do now? I'm like, are you like, you did not like spend some time making, like, you should have your designs on deck, like ready to go. So when you're approved, like, because you're getting approved, don't get approved. And they're like, well, now what do I do? Should I go to Fiverr? What's Fiverr? Like, oh, for I try to help people, but people got to help themselves a little bit at the same time.
Yeah.
Good question, though. Good question, though.
Sure. Yeah, we've heard that one a lot, and Chris does, every once in a while he gets to. I went to an event that Chris hosted a while back, and he had somebody from Merch there. It was really cool to get to meet him. So he's got some connections, but unfortunately, I don't even know that Amazon knows what they're doing half the time. So
Amazon's inventing the future. If you think about it, like they're kind of like the Tim Ferriss thing. They try new things. They'll shut down things that aren't working as well as they think they could. They'll break something good to make something great. But they try a lot of things, and you could do a whole show just about that part of, like, people forget the things that don't work, right? Like I understand, like, as a kind of a public figure in the Amazon space, like, oh, Chris, you did FBA and you did this, like you're so good at all these things. I'm like, y'all forgot all the things I tried that didn't work. And I say that like kind of joking, but kind of dead serious. Like, honestly, people forget. You try something and it doesn't work. You post something and get cricket. They forget. No one cares. No one's like, oh yeah, what about that thing that didn't work, Travis? No one cares about the things that didn't work.
Well, unfortunately for us, it's all documented on this print on demand cast.
But you've done lots. You've hosted conferences. You've done a lot of things before the print on demand stuff. Like, you've made mistakes. Like, how many coffee cups have you messed up and had to throw away and eat the coffee?
Cases of them.
Right. I wish it would be an amazing Instagram feed if, like, every Wednesday or something you posted like this mess up, right? User error, right? And I'm sure you make fewer user errors now, but you've got to go through the errors. You got to be willing to eat those. Like, just eat it and, like, be able to laugh about it. Like, you're going to mess up 1,000 coffee cups your first year.
Yeah. Oh, as an example, so we've got a new guy that just started Monday. So for those of you who follow us, my daughter was filling in kind of between employees. Just hired a new guy, started yesterday. And I had him, I was like, hey, I need you to print this for me, this shirt for me, because we're going to do the podcast. And he forgot to pre-treat it. And so I literally went back there, and this shirt vintage. Just looked garbage, just did not look good at all. Didn't, totally messed it up. So yes, that's just one example of the many that we have documented and will continue to document on this podcast. That's just how it goes, I guess. Right, Josiah?
Yep. Absolutely. And I always reference this quote, but it was Winston Churchill that said that success is moving from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. So I always think of that quote when we're talking about how your failures will shape you and give you what you need to succeed in the future. So it's, like I said already, embrace the suck. It's going to happen. You're going to mess stuff up, but it's going to be okay.
Well, it's like every failure is like one step closer to success. Kind of thing. Like, like, if you can learn to love success, I forget the example. I told my neighbor, he was what was it? Oh, he started a seal coating business, right? Like, just on his own, like, bought the truck, like, joined a Facebook group and, like, learned how to do all this stuff. And he really enjoys being outside and working with his hands. He wants this kind of way to make extra money. So it's a good side hustle, but it's certainly not print on demand. You know what I mean? He had to spend money and he has to go out in the sun and really work. Sure. And he was saying that, like, whenever he like presents the bill to the customer, right? It's all quoted, like the customer knows how much it's going to be beforehand. But this is his first kind of business, being the business owner, right? He's been an employee before. Now he's the business owner. And he always says he's so nervous when he hands over the bill and, it's time to get paid. And he's like, I did my best, but is the customer going to see that this is like, really like, and he does really good work. Like he's overly critical, in my opinion. And I told, he were sitting around the fire talking about this, drinking some beers, and I was like, he was frustrated. He kept feeling this negativity about this part of his business, and I was like, what you need to do is learn to love that. Like when you feel that like think of it as, all right, it's good, because what I asked him, what happens every time? Everybody, they're always happy, they're always thrilled, they're always elated, they're always ecstatic, like because he does a really good job for a competitive price, price that he's happy with. Like he's doing a great job, but he's so worried of that one person who's like, it's not good enough, or like this is too much money, or someone else said they could do it cheaper. Like, and I said, learn to enjoy it, learn to like be optimistic when you feel that, because what's coming next. They're going to write you that check, and they're going to tell you how good a job they did. They're going to give you recommendations, and they're going to, give you referrals, and they're going to call you next year, and all these things, because every single time that's what's happened, right? And he's like, yeah. So marry up that feeling and learn to love it. Like learn to love losing, learn to love posting and getting no engagement. Learn, because you're going to learn something from it and get better and better. It's a little bit of a secret, and I hope people can kind of internalize this and write it down. Experts, people who are really good at something, they make the hard look easy, and that's what people forget. Like it looks like it looks easy to them because they put in the work. Right. It is a hard job. Like to be able to seal coat a driveway in an hour. Don't feel guilty about charging what that job is worth, because you can do it in an hour. I can't do it in an hour because he's an expert. He makes this difficult job look easy, but it's not actually a difficult job. And the customer knows it and everybody knows it, but he has that imposter syndrome, like a lot of people do, around, I've done this for so long. Yeah, I can set this up in an hour. This is a piece of cake. It's like, that's because you're actually good at it. And that's why people are paying you to do this for them. And it's, if you come from an employee mentality of a trade your time for work, of an hourly type, employee, it can be difficult to make that switch. I've seen it so many times. So I hope anybody that's going through that can kind of see that and be like, oh, you're right. I'm seeing this the wrong way. I'm providing value to the customer. And you can offer that value now with print on demand products, to where it's kind of insane. It's like, for Pete's sakes, I can offer all these things for sale. It didn't cost me anything to set up the store. And when the orders come in, someone else is going to ship them. Like it is like a too good to be true type business model. And I hope more people jump on it.
Yeah. Eric says this is really great advice. Madeline says, learn to love losing. And then Cassandra has a great question here. And I don't necessarily, I think we're about to wrap it up because we're over an hour now, Cassandra. So we're going to I think what we're going to do is we're going to take your question and maybe use it as a point of interest on a future podcast, and or post something about that in the Facebook group. It's about, niche keyword research and maybe finding some outsourcers or something for that. I don't think we necessarily have time to tackle that, but that is a good question, Cassandra. So thank you for that.
I know some people in the keyword world. If you guys want to have a keyword type guest on like a future episode, I'll connect with you guys about that.
Okay. Yeah. And we could also point you to the episode we did with Cordelia Blake. Let me find which one it was really quick. So you have an episode. If you didn't hear that episode already, wait for it. This is where we play the fun music. Where is it? Wait for it. It's coming. I promise. Man, this is really bad. You guys are like, you even put the camera on me. Thanks a lot, bro.
You're embrace the suck, Travis. It's good.
I'm learning from my mistake. I shouldn't have said anything. I won't say anything next time. It's actually episode 41. And she talks all about keywords and using helium-10. It's not necessarily outsourcing your keyword finding, but it definitely has some great tips in episode 41 with Cordelia Blake about finding keywords. So we'll leave it at that. Josiah, take us away, buddy.
We will. Chris, thank you again so much for joining us live for this 1 year anniversary. It was great to have you. And I'm sure we'll have you back on again. And I'm sure at some point at a Print on Demand Cast meetup, you will be there. We'll have to make sure that you're there so we can give out some sunglasses, all wear sunglasses, have beers, just, have a good time in general. Everybody on the live, thank you so much for watching us. If you're listening on the replay or watching on the replay, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you found this information, of course, informational, educational, and entertaining. As always, you can go to printondemandcast.com to find out more about the show. You can go to printondemandcast.com/Facebook. Now, if you're listening to this and you're like, there's a video version, I don't understand. That's because you're not a part of the Facebook group yet. So printondemandcast.com/Facebook is where you go join the conversation, go join the family, and we would love to have you there. And of course, as always, leave us a 5-star rating. This time for the shirts, for the guest, and for the new aesthetic, the vintage retro vibe that we have going on. And we will love to have you guys leave us that review, and then we'll shout you out. And last but not least, of course, the easiest way to support the show, printondemandcast.com/shop. Pick up a shirt. The Guns N' Roses parody is Chris's favorite. It could be your favorite as well. So support us and what we're doing here, and go grab yourself a t-shirt. So with that, for Chris, for Travis, I'm Josiah, and we'll see you next time right here on the Print on Demand Cast.
See ya.
Hey, babe. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Print on Demand Cast. We hope you enjoyed the Totally Tubular Show. If you got a question or a suggestion for the show, send Travis and Josiah an email at info@printondemandcast.com. Want to be wicked nice? Take a minute to rate and review the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe now so you don't miss next week's episode. See you next time, for sure.